Hold on.
Hold up.
Hello, everybody. How are you? We had to change our whole program for tonight because thanks to Cox Cable, shut us down over at the work. Doesn't work. So we came out here to our house. So welcome to our pool party cheese class. So if you lose the link, please go right back to the original login site and then click the backup link. All right, so thank you very much. Welcome. And again, we look forward for the next 2 hours hosting you. We have some incredible cheeses for you. And of course, the panel, we have Jason, we have Caroline, we have Maritza, we have Jamie, and we have Janelle. And of course, you have myself, and then we have Bella and Ula somewhere running around underneath the table, hoping to get some cheese. Oh, I got to turn that off, don't I? That's going to drive me crazy.
Miss Caroline.
Okay. Thank you. So, Jason, why don't we start with the wines for tonight?
Briefly go over them, kind of a little story about each one. I saw the video on Kieran Way's Instagram. The winemaker, owner of Republic of Pink, put together a nice short video. It was funny that he was actually by a pool as well. A pool
Was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. Pool and rosé are synonymous, and the beach and so forth. So we all can't get to the beach right now, so it's a great time to drink rosé. It's getting a little warmer, a little summer. It's a little blend of Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, and a little bit of Cab Franc. Blend of red grapes, and he started this company with a design to really put California on the forefront of rosé. You know, we all think of rosé coming from Provence, and it's a great expression of where a new world rosé can really show what it's about. It's full flavored, it's robust, it's got some fruit to it, but the acid is there. It's crisp. Just a really good food friendly wine. The next one is Onyx. This is out of Paso Robles, all Templeton fruit. This is a field day or a white blend. Onyx is started by the Olsen family back in 2004. But they're Scandinavian. They've been in the wine business and farming business for over 100 years. But 2004, they brought their property, and they make some fantastic wines in Paso. If you get a chance to visit their tasting room, it's pretty neat. Like most Paso wines, a lot of field blends. This one is Grenache Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc, and a little Viognier. And then the last one is Banshee Mordecai. This is started by three gentlemen in San Francisco. They, went to college together, and they used to throw barrel parties instead of cake parties. They were already focused on wine at a very young age. They separated for a little bit, came back together, met in San Francisco, and started with 8 barrels of Pinot Noir from Sonoma. Banshee's the name of their dog. If you ever get a chance to go to Sonoma and Healdsburg, which is where their new tasting room is, it's a bohemian. It's like drinking at your house. It's a pretty unique experience. I highly recommend going up and visiting. They started with Pinot, but then now they make several wines, several single designated vineyards. Mordecai is a blend. It's 9 different grapes, 3 Rhone, 3 Bordeaux, and 3 American. Mostly, Cabernets, Zinfandel, a little Petit Syrah, Tannat, Cinsault, Carignan, a touch of regular Syrah, and another varietal in there that I'll come up with in a few seconds. But basically 9 grapes, and it changes from year to year, the percentages. They're partners with Bill Foley, with the Golden Knights, and the partnership didn't come with taking over and acquiring the winery and changing everything. It basically allowed them to maintain their price range and still offer the value. When they started, they were all about making great wines at affordable price. They still probably have one of the best Pinot Noirs for value you can get in the United States. So as we go through the cheeses, we'll start to dial in what goes with what and how they pair.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to put a special thank you out to all our cheesemakers. Obviously, we have a nice selection of cheesemakers. First one would be, of course, Forfait Fowl as the upgrade cheese, and Saxelby from Saxelby Cheese in New York, who is working very closely with Jasper Hill and Meadow Creek. We also have, of course, Old Chatham and First Light doing a nice combination. We're going to talk about each one of the cheeses as well. And did I leave one out?
Yeah, no.
No? Okay. Oh, yes,
Calderwood,
absolutely.
Promontory.
We're talking about one of my favorites, Pat. I'm sorry, Beehive in Utah with the Promontory. So thank you very much for all the cheeses. And we're going to talk about each one of them as we're going right down the line. Okay, so the first cheese that we have chosen for it was the Promontory, correct?
Appalachian.
Appalachian. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you hold
Yeah.
it up?
So, the Appalachian.
Look at this sexiness.
We should have some.
Yeah. So
We
yeah,
should all
let's.
have some,
It's
yes.
good. So,
Chop
Here you
him up.
so
Got it. Chop him up. If y'all didn't know already, the order right now for the cheese is gonna go Appalachian. It's gonna go Promontory, and then we have the Calderwood, and then we have
The
the
bougie
blue,
And if you guys
because
got
it's
the
bougie and blue.
yeah.
So,
And then if you guys got the extra cheese, we got the 4-fat fowl, and then we also have the Grayson.
Grayson.
Yeah. Oh, you got peas?
I did chop him up, guys. Thank you. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Is the rind edible?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I ate it.
Very enjoyable.
Mhm.
I have two puppies waiting for some cheese, but the rind is edible. Do you want to talk about the Calderwood?
So, the Appalachian is lightly cooked in press curd cheese. Is aged for about 90 days. It's very creamy. It's a Tom style. And the Appalachian is made by Meadow Creek Dairy in Virginia. And the Appalachian is the same name as the mountain over there. And that was their very first cheeses they made. So Tom style, so pretty much it's I would say a copy from a Tom in France or a Tom Piemontese in Italy. So you could find, the rind like very, very velvety, on the outside. Of course, you could eat the rind. This is just up to you. The thing I like with this is it's very creamy, very nutty, very mild. And of course, if you eat the rind, this is very earthy, herbaceous.
Beige.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Very nice, herbaceous.
yeah. So the Meadow Creek Dairy, it's a small dairy. They make cheese starting in March, and they finish the season in the end of December. So everybody could have a 2 months rest, and also the cows too, which is good. They put a lot of love in their cheese. And now maybe I'm going to turn to Jason. Which wine do you think would pair the
Hold on
best?
1 second. For the order for the cheese, one more time. Be this way. Turn this way.
Yeah, we're right here. Can you see us? Wow.
Okay, one more time. First one is the Appalachian.
Second one is a Promontory.
Third is gonna be Calderwood.
Calderwood. And then we got the bougie blue.
The darker rind. Grayson
Darkerwood.
or Calderwood.
It would probably be Calderwood.
Calderwood with the hay
On the right.
on the rind. And then if you got upgrade cheese, it's gonna be the St. Stephen's 4-fat fowl. And then we have the Grayson.
Which ones?
Back to you, Jason.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little bit why we chose some of these wines as well. I mean, rosé goes with everything. It's very similar to champagne. It transcends almost all of these cheeses. The other two wines, when Michael and I and Caroline were talking, we were, it's tough when you have a full cheese board. We're like, all right, well, what goes with what? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is there
it's-
anything specifically it's you could find a special wine for all of these cheeses, but to find a wine or a couple wines, especially a red and a white that goes with all of them, is a little unique. It's definitely a tasting challenge. And I think these two blends, we couldn't match a single wine, so we got two blends that have all the wines. That's kind of the thought. And they all kind of match a little bit different. Some definitely the red matches up better than the white, and the other way around. But I would say on the Appalachian, the rosé for sure. But the Field Day, is mostly a Rhone varietal blend. Minus the Sauvignon Blanc, which brightens it up a little bit and gives it a little herbal character. But you're going to get a little bit of that with this cheese, but that creaminess, and so that Appalachian, the mountainside, the higher climate, the cool nights, the Christmas, the herd that the cows go through is very similar to what grapes would go through in the Rhone Valley. So the Viognier and those beautiful aromatics, it's like a Hawaiian flower garden, kind of really showcase and brighten and lift this cheese. The creaminess, it kind of cleanses it a little bit.
Well, what's also very unique on this farm is that the sustainable farming. Okay, so it's a small farm, family owned, operated, and they're doing an absolutely incredible job with this Meadow Creek. I feel as an American-made home, the flavor profile, the earthiness on it. It's roughly about 2,800 feet elevation over there. So I think it makes it very approachable for a lot of different people. Okay, and it's very similar to a typical Piedmontese Toma or even a Tome de Savoie. Okay,
this is something we had in one of the other classes.
Yeah,
the first one.
We had that last time. But I think this one, if you compare to the Tome de Savoie, is even more creamy. It's probably maybe it was the milk they use. The milk was the Jersey cow, which is a very rich milk. So lots of fat. So you could find that the creaminess in the cheese.
I actually have a question. Like wine, there's an old world, new world note to most wines. Does that follow the same path in cheese? And what would you say would classify an old world cheese? And even if it was made in the same category, like a Tome de Savoie, in American style or a New World style, I should say.
Yeah.
I definitely feel there's a lot of similarities. I think there is a uniqueness to it because, yes, they're using the approach of a Tome style cheese. They're using the same make method or procedures. But on the other hand, when you look at the cheese itself, it typically reflects the character of the uniqueness of the land over here. Okay, and that's why I think that this particular cheese, the cattle are never, they're roaming free. Okay, and when you smell it and taste it, you can taste the grassiness of this cheese, of the milk. Okay, again, terroir was something that we've talked about in the last class. And that's what makes this cheese so special.
And of course, I mean, it's also the affinage. The affinage, it's something very special for cheese.
What is affinage?
Affinage, it's the process to aging the cheese. It's the
the handling of the cheese after the production.
Yeah.
So it has to go into a cave. It is aged in that cave, temperature based, okay, humidity based. Humidity, a lot of times 68 to 85 degrees. Temperature based, the temperature based on that is roughly about 52 to 70 sometimes, depending on the cheese. Manchego style would be normally on the higher temperatures to reflect what's made in Spain. Okay, and that's what the handling of the cheese is, the affinage, proper handling.
Yeah, and of course, usually the cheese are aging on wooden shelves.
Yes.
So which bring all those tasting notes into the cheese, because of course, I mean, with the rind, I mean, the flavor of the cheese go from the outside to the inside, and of course, I mean, depends of the terroir, and you're gonna have a different flavor. I mean, that's to be the thing, you know, from, I mean, old world and new world in cheese. That's
And there's some incredible caves here in the United States now. I mean, Jasper Hill has one incredible cave. There's even some cheese shops. And over at Saxelby in New York has a cave. We're in the process with the remodel of the building, of putting actually, hopefully, with the help of the agricultural department, a cave in where we can age cheeses. We're bringing them in at young age and then aging them and maturing them. So that's going to be kind of a whole new idea for us. And I'm very excited talking to a few cheesemakers in regards of that, of actually learning that process and going to them and working with them. Okay, so I'm very excited about that. But yes, I mean, the caves that we do have and the environments that they create, that's also part of what makes these cheeses so unique.
Given everything that's going on right now, our focus is obviously on supporting American cheese this week, and American cheese producers, and we definitely, everybody's struggling. So supporting local is definitely a big thing. How do you feel the market in American cheese is going to move forward, given the circumstances?
It's going to be an interesting market. I mean, very
Do you
interesting.
think we'll
We've
grow?
been-
Will what I mean? That people will be more aware about great American cheeses?
Yes.
Do you think what I mean? Most people, it's always brie. Brie is where you start, and then you start to develop your palate.
In one of the first classes, we were talking about the American cheese revolution. Okay, talking back to the 60s, the necessity to go back to the land, the hippies. And again, I love bringing this up. Mary Keene, Cowgirl Creamery, Mary Keene with Cypress Grove, Cowgirl Creamery, Peggy and Sue, Jennifer Bice, okay, in up at Petaluma, and then Humble Falls. On the East Coast, we have Vermont Creamery. We have such great cheesemakers that went back to the basics and started again bringing the cheeses back that were actually here originally, brought in by the immigrants. I mean, and that's what I think more and more seeing the public, how open they are about American cheese and how incredible American cheese has become.
Yes.
The variety alone, the creativeness, like the Bougie Blue, 3 different milks. You have first as a goat dairy, and you have Old Chatham as a sheep dairy. And Tom and Nancy started the sheep dairy, and they partnered up. And the next thing you know is they're adding a little bit of cow's milk, okay, and they come up with this blue cheese, okay. I mean, there's the newer generation of cheesemakers is absolutely very talented and very unique, and they're bringing all the specialty profile to their cheeses, and that's why I think the American cheeses more and more will gain upper hand compared to the Europeans. Not to take away from the European cheeses, but I think it's a pride. I think it is a flavor. I think it is the cheeses itself. When I first went to the cheese conference in Portland, there was 285 cheesemakers, 380, 75, 80 cheeses. And then when you look now, 2 years ago, we were up in Denver, and there was 2,800 cheesemakers introducing 3,600 cheeses. So yes, they incorporated some of the cheeses from Canada and Mexico, but excuse me, why not? Okay, because there's some great cheesemakers, just like wines, more and more, that are doing an absolutely phenomenal job with these cheeses.
Can you kind of, not to bore everybody, but explain kind of why American cheesemakers are in a little bit of a bind now, like the distribution side of it, like what happens when you make cheese and you have a supply and demand, and all of a sudden things stop.
Well,
Yeah, the question. So when you go to
okay. Come on, girls. We have a long time to go.
Oh, hey.
We got a lot of drinking.
Hey. Welcome back.
Yay. Hey, so with that cheese, I just want a steak. And we're out here in the garden. I want a steak, guys. Don't you guys want a steak?
Steak on the bar. How's
Steak, not steak on the barbecue.
The shrimp on the barbecue.
Just a steak with some roasted vegetables, a big old chunk of cheese on top of that steak.
Oh, you can even
Nah.
put it on top of
Yeah,
the
you can melt
vegetables and melt the cheese on top of the
Yeah.
vegetables.
I want a
Mm.
burger.
I think that with the funkiness of this cheese will come out a little bit more when it's a little bit warmer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think
You
of
guys,
it.
we finished it already. See?
Yeah, I know. We're pulling a Joanne.
Joanne. It's so good.
But
Yeah, how do you want this?
I want it on burger. I just want to
Frosted
melt
burger.
it on top of
Ooh.
a burger.
Bougie blue frosted ribeye.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it's
Oh, they can't. Y'all can't hear them. So
Aw, they're talking.
Look at them. They want to
Back
steal
to
their
that.
spotlight
So-
again.
a grilled cheese would be good with the Appalachian
Oh yeah.
on top of a steak,
Mm-hmm.
on top of some
Veggies.
roasted vegetables. Maybe like even a cheeseburger. Oh.
cheeseburger.
Breakfast
Cheeseburger.
too.
Make sure it's a dry aged
Like
burger
eggs.
from Flannery.
Oh, did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Did y'all hear that? Dry aged burger.
They
from
probably
Flannery's.
didn't hear that because that's what Brian said.
What else is good with it?
For breakfast?
Just eat
Omelet?
it.
Just eat
Yeah,
it?
just eat it.
Eat it.
Omelet.
It's
you
good
can
with
put-
white wine. I tell you that.
Yeah, we already moved on to the next wine.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is
The field
one.
The field day we did like that pairing a lot better. For us.
yeah,
But of course, whatever you like.
your preference, your
Yeah.
palate.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
all good. Oh, okay. Bye.
There-
Catch you later.
Sorry.
Fixing the burp.
So we were talking about steaks. We were, we haven't hit the cheese yet, but the Bougie Blue crusted ribeye
Yeah, we were
Mm.
thinking about that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
would be pretty
Yeah.
decadent.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely, even if you go with a dry age, obviously Flannery, using Holstein cows, actually Holstein steer, and so you get a smaller eye, but you get a bigger eye. So I think that Bougie Blue, nicely melted, crusted on top of it after it's perfectly cooked. Yep, that would be kind of
And the
nice.
bottle of Mordecai.
There we go.
Should the Appalachian be brought to room temperature?
Yes, absolutely. Every cheese should be used at room temperature. The warmer it is, the more flavor you get out of it, and the higher the temperature, you get all the terroir, you get all the flavors of the cheeses. So yes, I definitely would highly recommend, putting all the cheeses at room temperature, or for us, garden temperature.
Garden. Pool temperature. Oh.
What's up?
Y'all want to go swim? I'm ready.
Promontory, yeah, Beehive.
Ready.
Beehive.
I'm gonna go
Cheese
boating.
Yes, skirts,
we got more
yes,
cheese.
yeah.
She ready to go ride a horse.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Mm.
What do you think of
All right. Next cheese.
Talk about the supply chain.
Oh yeah,
what?
we're back to the supply chain. Like why support American cheesemakers now? What is the issue with, or how are they coping with what's going on, and when they are supporting a lot of the restaurants that are closed? What do cheesemakers, how do they adapt? Just like slaughterhouses and meat and so
Right.
forth. Cheese obviously has a lot of details and a lot of time, and an expiration date. It's probably more strict than any other product from the FDA.
Definitely. The cheesemakers, what they're facing right now is basically like everybody else. The rug was pulled out from underneath them. They were producing so much cheese. I had one cheesemaker, they were using 7,500 pounds every week. And the next thing you know is, or 7 days a week, and the next thing you know is that's done. So, but they do have contracts with farmers. They do have contracts with milk suppliers. So then, unless it's a farmstead cheese, sorry, then allergies. They really have to work now and think. So if it's a harder cheese like a Promontory, it is a little easier. But even Beehive was donating a bunch of cheese to to the food bank. Okay, matter of fact, you can go ahead and donate money so they can make cheese, and they donate it all the time, all the labor. Okay, just the money that was donated was basically just for the milk to put the cheese on the shelf and then go ahead and give it to the food bank. Okay, so they were feeding 3,000, 4,000 families. And a lot of cheesemakers are doing that right now. For Fat Fowl, I know Anne from Saxelby called me up and we were talking about that. And she says, well, yes, absolutely. Nothing is going. Nothing is selling. So if we don't sell it, so we brought extra cheese in and selling that at the shop at a reduced cost to help them out. Because it's from the milk production to the cheesemaker, to the cheese shops, to the grocery stores.
Time sensitive.
Exactly. And of course, the cheeses are one of the items where a lot of people say, hey, listen, do I really need this cheese? And why is this cheese so expensive? Well, if you invest into this cheese, the milk, the farmer, okay, you want to make sure it's a fair trade product, not like mass production.
What happens when, all right, you have to reduce your production and you've got a herd of cows? What do you?
Hell yeah.
My ignorance, I just don't know. Like, what happens with the milk? Do they still milk? And
Yeah.
what are
Yes, they are
what are
milking.
options for dairy farmers when it comes
Well,
to?
a cow is not going to say, hey, listen, we on strike. Let's stop milking me. Okay. So this is continuing. My friend Isidro at Sand Hill Dairy, he gave away to the town of Fallon for several days milk and gallons of milk that he has produced that he didn't have sales outlets for. Okay. I mean, our sales dropped down by almost, lately to pretty much nothing because the grocery stores now have cheap milk. So people are looking at, okay, good, I'm at Walmart, I'm paying $2.99. Why are you charging $3.99? Well, Walmart is using a mass-produced milk, okay, where Sand Hill Dairy is a small farmer. Okay, Isidro and the family, they started with the farm 12
Hormones,
years
no
ago.
antibiotics.
Exactly. Pretty much as free as
Sometimes
possible.
the extra dollar is just worth spending because
Yes.
of the product that you're getting.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference when you look at the production. I mean, Pat and I were going back and forth right now since we are making custom cheeses, and he even offered if there's any problem with any of his cheeses that he would take them back because he doesn't want bad cheese to go out. For Fat Fowl, St. Stephen's, Shalina and Willie, they offered if you have any problem with our cheeses, let us know. And we will definitely go ahead and make it well. And everybody, it's about helping each other and supporting each other. We have all these incredible restaurants that are shut down and now finally slowly starting to open. Okay, I mean,
Day by
I
day,
know-
week by week.
yeah, I know that I just want my friends, my restaurateurs, my cheesemakers, my producers, my milk producers, Strauss Creamery, Jasper Hill, I want them to do well. Okay, and in order to do that, let's buy cheese. Okay, and help them continue making cheese. Because otherwise, I have one farmer right now. He was so desperate to go ahead. He actually had to sell his cattle. Okay, and he's selling the cattle right now at a loss. Because when you look at it, you have these large slaughterhouses that are making $600 on a cow. But on the other hand, they're going to the farmer saying, hey, listen, there's so much cattle out there. I only go ahead and give you this much. So the farmer actually loses as much as $185. Okay, so they're selling the cattle at a loss right now. And that's very difficult. I have one particular farmer, he had to sell all his pigs. He had to sell the cattle off. And that's kind of disturbing, very disturbing. Okay, because there's great cheesemakers involved that are
No,
using
but
them.
that's back to our point of like why you really need to support local. Like this is farm to table,
Yes.
slow food, as big as it gets.
Exactly.
Like now, is the time to really practice. I would say, as most people have learned relatively not that long ago, about the fact that you can get local products, that you can get better products without hormones and antibiotics and other things thrown into these things, like on your everyday basis. Like, why go to a mass supermarket and buy certain things? And we all know that even the big ones that have super deals and the steaks look amazing and all these things, what do they really do with them? Where's the change?
Where is it coming from?
Where's it coming from?
Exactly.
And so just understand that. Like, I mean, obviously cheese is, dairy is, there's a lot of things that can, go wrong. There's a lot of things that can, affect you in the long term. And, where are you getting your products from?
Well, this is one of the things that you were just mentioning. A lot of things can go wrong. You take a cheese that you produce and you put on a shelf for 60 or 90 days. It's a very intricate system that works on humidity, temperature, the aging rooms. You have one aging room go down, you can lose as many as sometimes 10,000 pieces of cheese. Okay, especially when it's a fresh cheese, short cheese, like the 4-fat fowl, that really affects these cheeses. Okay, so it's the reason why these cheeses are so expensive, because a cow doesn't say, hey, listen, I can't be milked today, it's Saturday. These farmers work 7 days a week. These cheesemakers literally work 7 days a week, because you have to nurture each cheese. You have to handle the cheese. You have to brine it. You have to wash it. You have to flip it over. So there's so much labor involved in making cheese. Okay, that is what we have to support. Is that, and it's usually family farms. It is usually a farmstead. Okay, that they're making the cheese right there, milking the cattle, and then making the cheese right next door. And life of these families is depending upon us to buy the cheese. Okay, it's the same with restaurants. We got to support our local restaurants, the chefs that are creating such great meals.
Use these
use these cheeses in their dishes or on the cheese boards. Okay, so yes, absolutely. All right. Go to the girls. Girls have a question.
Guys. Hey. Oh, hello there.
Come here often.
It's been a while. But there are some questions about bringing the cheese to room temperature.
Garden temperature.
Oh yeah, garden temperature. I would say, let's say,
We usually do about 30 minutes before you want to start eating or enjoying your cheese. Pull it out about 30 minutes before, and then just,
let it breathe.
Oh, that's the wine. That's the wine.
Oh
Let
no,
the wine breathe.
cheese can breathe.
Okay, cheese can
Let
breathe
the
too.
cheese come to room temp.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cheese, you just kind of want to let it.
About how long?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Before serving.
As for pairings, what cheese are we on?
We are on Promontory. Promontory pairs well with a lot of fruity stuff. Right now we are eating it with apricots and dried raisins. Is it raisins?
No,
Raisin.
it's cranberry.
Cran-
They're craisins.
Craisins.
Are you still Promontory with the red?
No.
Yeah, no.
Did they catch on to it
No.
already?
Did they say something?
Did we
What?
change our
Did we change our hats? No.
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 Y'all
No.
are drunk.
Yeah. We're not drunk.
We're not drunk.
You're
You're
drunk.
drunk.
But so we were discussing the
Promontory?
Promontory. And what
So-
we would.
what we would pair it with or cook it with, and we were
Ooh,
saying
ooh.
possibly
Oh, y'all ain't ready. You ready? You ready? Go ahead.
peaches.
Yeah. Grilled
Grilled
peaches.
peaches.
Grilled
Oh,
peaches.
see?
With maybe a little honey drizzle over the top. Not really needed. Not really needed, but just to add to the sweetness.
I like
Yeah.
extra. I am extra.
Extra.
White wine
Yeah.
is like a peach chutney.
White
Ooh,
wine.
White wine.
It's like a peach
Little-
chutney.
It's like a peach chutney. Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
Hold up. Be right back.
Yeah, my mom's
I mean, I think we were just briefly discussing. I think the peach. This is like when I think about like as generic as this goes, it goes back to my childhood of canned peaches. This wine has something that brings me back to that mentality of the horrible canned peaches. Which are never good for you, but the flavors in this wine, even though this wine is, an organic wine, I think like it's like a mango chutney or a peach chutney that kind of really matches up with wine really well.
I think that especially for summertime, the lighter wines, the white wines and the rosés in particular, these two that we
It's like
chose.
being at a beach.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So we can't be
light. It's not over. It goes with a lot of different things. It's a very nice varietal of different blends, and I think it pairs very well with a lot of different things. Okay, I mean, take a nice piece of fish with that. Okay, that would be kind of nice. Or you can take a 4 fat fowl.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
hello. How
How you
drunk
doing?
are you?
So if this is your first time to our class, first time to our shop, first time all around,
Mhm.
my name is Janelle. This is Jamie. And this is
Maritza.
Maritza. And we are the Cheese Girls. Oh, I'm sorry. What are we called? Curd Nerds.
Curd
Curd
Nerds.
Nerds. Yeah.
Not given by us. Somebody gave it to us.
We are not drunk. This is us on a normal basis. So if you want to see us and have a good time, come to the shop. We are open 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. And yeah, I don't know.
Occasional Saturdays.
Occasional.
Very.
How many bottles of wine have you had so far?
We've had
We haven't had
0
no.
bottles.
So we've been
I mean-
drinking,
They've been good.
but
They've
we
been
haven't
really good.
finished a bottle yet.
We finished a glass.
Big deal.
Yeah,
That's
glass,
all.
But that's it.
Yeah, that's all that.
That's all. Don't judge.
No, we're not.
We're not
judging.
judging
Good
you.
time. This is
We're
Gordon
not judging.
weather.
It is.
Hey, yo.
Exactly.
After
Oh,
4
cute.
bottles, then you maybe have something to talk about.
There you go. Oh,
Um,
it's keeping the sun out of my face.
pairings, more pairings for Promontory. We said
yeah.
on a breakfast sandwich.
Yep.
And
hot
mac and
dogs.
cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one?
Oh, our grilled peaches.
Yeah,
Grilled
That was it.
peaches?
I mean, I think that's the only. That's all we have in our heads right now. So that's all we're.
You can't remember. You put us on the spot.
And
We
I
need,
mean,
we need to talk about
that's all I want.
That's all I want.
That's all I want.
I want them peaches.
with,
And,
the, with the sangria.
Hi, Joanne.
Thank you for calling us cool.
Badasses. Oh,
This is definitely one of the
Cool.
I want the next cheese after Promontory.
next cheese, y'all. Next
We're
cheese.
gonna go.
We haven't even talked about
Actually, we're
Promontory.
going to talk about the Promontory a little bit more. Okay. Promontory is made by one of my favorite cheesemakers, Beehive. Tim and Pat in Utah, making this Promontory. Promontory was very important because when the railroad met, they were right there at the Promontory. And so that's what this cheddar is named after, Promontory. It's the base for all the cheeses they have. Barely Bust, the Cajun John. All the cheeses are basically starting out with the Promontory. And then they're just adding ingredients to it. And that's what makes this cheese so unique. It's a very versatile cheese. At the younger age, it's incredibly gradeable. You can put it on a baked potato. You can put it on a steak. You can put it in omelets. It has a very distinct flavor, but not overpowering. And as it goes, of course, with age, then the whole flavor profile changes on that. It gets crystallization in there, and
Yeah, it's very, very nutty. You could note some citrusy note too.
Which is where the Sauvignon Blanc comes out of the
Yeah, yeah,
onyx.
yeah.
I think I was first introduced to this this dairy farm at the farmers market on 3rd, and they have the Beehive the cheese curds.
oh yeah,
Curd nerds.
These they're life-changing cheese curds.
yes,
You,
absolutely.
not only could you just rip the pack open and just start going nuts, you can dust these things with a little bit of breading,
I
crisp them up, They're pretty special, and this is as local as dairy as we get. It's the closest dairy we have, right? Farm
Yes and no.
that is of some sort of production.
There is, excuse me. There is in Beaver, Utah. There's a couple of cheesemakers up there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Pat would be the next one up in Salt Lake, just outside of Salt Lake. And my God, I mean, it speaks for itself.
It does.
The flavor, I love the family.
They're good people.
Great people.
Yeah, great people.
Great people.
Yep.
Great people.
Okay, with incredible families that I just absolutely admire. Okay, and I love their cheeses. I love when I talk to Pat in regards of cheese making, or when we talk about him coming down and we going on sales calls together. Okay, it's a good time every time. There is no doubt about it. So yes, but I mean the cheesemaker, Pat and Tim, they didn't get started till 2004, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, now look at it. This is a cheese that's, what, 15, 16 years of age and being made here. And it's just absolutely incredible. Okay. Okay. Next one.
So the next one is the Calderwood, and this one is from Jasper Hill in Vermont. I don't know how to pronounce that.
That's fine.
How aged is it? How aged are all the cheeses?
So, well, the Calderwood, the base of this cheese is the Alpha Toman. So this cheese, so they wash that cheese for about 6 months, and then they put the hay on the rind and they cryovac the cheese, and that cheese stays cryovac for about 4 more months. And then after that, they open the bags and they left the cheese, on the shelf to age a little bit more. So I would say this cheese is about like a year, maybe a little more age. As you can see, it's very friable. I mean, crumbly. It's still very creamy. It's more earthy in flavor. It's so it's an Alpine style cheese. What do you think?
I just absolutely love the earthiness when
Yeah.
you smell the rind with the straw and the wash rind, and it looks fantastic, and B, the aroma alone that you get when you smell that in, it's the farm. I just no words to that.
So and of course,
And it's Mateo.
Jasper Hill, their knows how to age those their cheeses.
Yes.
I mean, they're affiners. I mean, they also make some cheese, but they're well known to age their cheeses. So
Yeah, Mateo and his brother Andy were actually going to France to learn affinage, and they were learning to cheese cave, and actually were one of the first ones to build a cheese cave in the U.S. Okay, strictly for aging, in particular.
So this one, I would not eat the rind. I mean, because it's it's hay, so it's a kind of
We ate it over
difficult
here.
to.
We ate all the rind.
Yeah, we ate all the
I
rind.
ate
You
the
ate all the
rind,
rind.
too. We ate it
We
all.
loved it.
This one.
Okay.
It
I
tastes
love
a
the
little.
rind.
It tastes more.
Hey,
aged. It's so good.
We need some vanilla or something.
So I mean, like we always say, it's always your preference. Whatever you like, you eat or you don't eat. We ate. They don't eat.
I probably shouldn't have. I didn't like it that
I-
much.
I liked
but I
it.
like the
do you
cheese.
want us to introduce ourselves again?
Yay!
Hey, if you're
Hey.
just tuning in, I'm this way.
Hi,
Hi.
Marissa, Jamie,
Jano.
And then there's also Michael,
Caroline,
Caroline,
and Jason.
and Jason. Ooh,
Ooh,
we
we
got
There you
got
go.
the fresh urbane.
Well, I guess it's not
And
going to
then are we
bother me.
introduced?
What is it?
I don't know. It smells good. Lemon?
Lemon verbena.
Smell that.
All right.
The wine?
Mm.
So next cheese would be
Or Want to go to the wine or no? Go.
Okay, what are you at? What wine? Absolutely, wine goes there.
This is one of the wines. This is one of the cheeses that I would definitely say the red goes with. You know, this is a lot of that. You know, trumpet mushrooms.
Yeah.
You know, the high alpine climate. I think this is where like the Grenache, the Syrah, and, the Carignan really showcase and come out. You know, that you know, rustic hay note. You know, that like herbal. You know, herbaceous note to it.
Very.
Really showcases. You know, with the Banshee, it's, you know, that smoky kind of hit that takes that creamy richness in this cheese and just molds really well with the wine. It's
I think it's a very nice selection that you did on that, on this wine with the cheese. Exactly what.
but
you
even
said.
the white, you know, it lifts it up, makes it a little bit more floral.
Yeah.
We on to the next. The bougie girls.
The bougie girls.
Hey, I win.
You won.
I win.
Okay, so you get red wine.
All right,
You ready?
I'm ready for the red.
you guys better call the boyfriends later on to pick you up.
Uber. Anyone do
Here we go.
Uber? We gonna need one.
You ready? Have a little left.
What are we on?
I have cheese in my mouth. I was trying to show you with
Okay,
cheese
we're
in
going
my
to the
mouth.
bougie blue.
Bougie, because it's bougie.
No, it has 3 milk.
You know why it's bougie? Do you know why it's bougie?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's 3
Why
milk.
y'all not answering?
It's 3 milk.
They're not answering. I'm waiting for them to answer.
you. No.
Oh, it's bougie because it got
Bougie.
3 milks in it.
All 3. Mm-hmm.
Can you guess? Can
All
you
right.
guess?
All right, bougie blue, produced by First Flight in co-production with Old Chatham. They formed a new company in order to make 3 milk cheeses, and that's what makes this one unique. It's actually very young. It was just developed. The co-production between Old Chatham and First Light is only about a year and a half old, and they started playing around with, of course, mixing cow and goat. They made a beautiful, First Light made a beautiful goat blue. They make an incredible fresh goat cheeses. And then, of course, with Old Chatham having the experience with the Nancy's and the Hudson Valley Camembert, they combined that. Obviously, they used blue. So they combined all 3 milks and they started making these 3 milk cheeses. Bougie blue, very similar to a Roquefort.
Yeah.
Okay, very similar to that. Not only because of the mold, the blue, but also from the way it's made and the characters of the cheese.
What makes the mold blue?
What makes the mold blue?
So
It's
that's
a-
oops.
Ladies
That's
first.
the Penicillium roqueforti. So we talked about that on the last class with the Roquefort. The Penicillium roqueforti is pretty much, you know, the mold on the bread. So it's and the last time when I talk about the Roquefort, the Papillon Roquefort, so they cook their own bread and they made their own Penicillium roqueforti, and they put that into the curds, and they make that blue cheese. So and then they pierce the cheese because that blue mold needs oxygen to grow inside the cheese. So that's the process.
So right
So you
here
could see, you
right
could
here
see,
you see
yes.
the piercing of the injection, and you can also see it right over here. So there's needles being injected into the cheese, and they're slowly putting the penicillium as it's pulling out into the cheese while it's very young. So
So and of course
Where
when
did
the
this
cheese is
concept come
pierced,
from? Like, who decided to put penicillin in cheese?
well, who design? I mean, the legend is, you know, that a young shepherd was in love with a shepherdess, and he left some sheep cheese, you know, with some bread into a cave over in France, And then a few days later, he went back and he was starving, and he find the cheese all moldy blue with the bread, and well, it was so starving. So he said, "Okay, I'm gonna try that," and that's pretty much the story of that blue cheese. And I mean, that
Blue cheese,
Cheese.
blue cheese is just something
Yeah.
very unique. Where a lot of people are not very fond of blue cheeses because they think they're too pungent.
Mhm.
They think they have too much flavor. They are kind of scared because of, my God, what is this blue stuff growing inside my cheese? Blue cheese is something that you slowly, gotta ease yourself into it, and there is no right or wrong. You just gotta sample and try them. There's such incredible blue cheeses out there. From
Could be like a certain wine where you serve somebody a varietal, and all of a sudden, oh, they don't like that varietal anymore because they tried, one that was too aggressive.
correct.
I feel like the last two classes, with the Bouger Blue and with the Bavaria Blue, I mean, these are incredibly approachable blue cheeses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You would,
Yeah.
it would put you in a different level. I guess we had a question on what you would pair with these. The rosé for sure. If you wanted to be on the white side, you're thinking the Cabernet Franc really showcases here, brings out a little other aromatics, a little bit of that, high mountain fruit. You're talking, those wild huckleberries and mulberries and boysenberries. And I would say this is a red one. This is probably the best pairing for the red. You're talking, I mean, blue cheese and port wine are classic pairings. They're but this is something that is close to that in a sense that it does have, I wouldn't say raisination, but it has an intensity to it, a roundness and a texture and a sweetness and an earthiness that really matches up pretty much spot on.
Oh,
With
absolutely.
this, you're getting,
I think I like the
all those
flavor
varietals
notes.
kind of coming together to really, smooth out, the herbal note or the penicillin note, I guess you would say, in this cheese.
Yeah, pretty much all blue cheeses using that penicillium to make the blue. Okay, on the Rock 40, the greenish turns kind of a blue, where on the Gorgonzola, the blue turns kind of greenish. Okay, so that's kind of what makes these cheeses interesting and unique.
Do some blues have wheat?
Do what?
Do some blues have wheat?
Michael?
Do some blues have wheat?
So I would say some of them. I mean the Roquefort Papillon we had last time. I would say yes, because that's the one who's made with the real bread. They make that they use the bread, but after that, no.
Question, they don't know what I'm asking. So does it use wheat?
Okay, so does the Roquefort use wheat? I mean, to make the blue mold? Some of them. So, for example, the Roquefort Papillon, yes. But if you go with the Roquefort Société, no. It's a microbial Penicillium roqueforti, so you're safe. And and then I mean, most of them now use the microbial Penicillium roqueforti, so you're safe to eat blue cheese.
What do you pair with the blue?
I think I was about to pick that up.
We were just discussing this, the Banshee.
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 Mordecai.
Red wine.
Banshee.
Mordecai. Yes, so this wine, it is a little bit light in palate, like it's very almost watery, if you can describe it as watery. But right now, since we are out in the garden, it's brilliant.
It's perfect.
I
Yeah.
love the
Perfect.
nose.
Yeah, the
is
nose is
Probably one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
It's not.
it's
It
really
just
nice.
smells really sweet. But as for the Bougie Blue, what to pair it with? Honey, of course, is my all-time go when it comes to any blue. And
chocolate. If you ask Caroline, chocolate will always be number one. But for us, honey.
Honey.
Whether
But
it be on the honeycomb or just straight, or it doesn't matter what kind of honey. Just
and then, as they
Honey
were
free.
saying, some people find blues scary.
Don't be scared.
And don't, because I used to be scared of blues until this one introduced me to artisanal cheeses.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Exactly.
Well, actually, the one reason why most people are like a little bit more scared.
I
of
had
blue,
it in a blue cheese dressing. Blue cheese dressing.
So
A very cheap blue cheese dressing. And that was my first experience with blue cheese ever. And so I was tainted.
right. But I mean, if you go to the grocery store, most of the time you're just gonna find something that they mass produce. It's not good. It's gonna like almost numb your face, numb your tongue.
Yeah.
You're not gonna love it, and it's not a good experience. Yeah, for
And
that
it-
reason, you
you're
do
gonna-
not want blue.
And like I said, it
You
kind of ruins it because that's what happened with me. And then eventually I gave it another chance. And I think the first time I tried another blue was an iceberg,
Iceberg blue.
the iceberg
Ooh.
blue.
Starter blue.
And
Mhm.
so that one is very approachable, I feel.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not as pungent. It has like it does have all the notes for your blue. It's very creamy
What?
with your mouthfeel, but it's very approachable. You're not gonna lose out.
They said it's the gateway blue.
It
it is the gateway blue.
And
'Cause
then
guess what?
you're gonna
Guess
be-
what? I'm a believer.
I'm a believer.
But pairings with this definitely honey.
Put it on a steak. Just put it on a steak.
Like-
That's it.
Like
Yeah, they-
Jason
they
don't
was
ask for
saying,
nothing else. Just a steak.
Jason was not lying when he
Mhm.
said that option because that does sound just
Yeah, no, and it is
Beautiful.
fantastic. It is fantastic.
You can put it on a burger.
This is really
I'm all about burgers. Anyone make good burgers out there?
a like buffalo blue cheese mac and cheese.
Yeah, why not?
We're just here for the food.
I
And
mean,
cheese.
but we do want to educate you. We are fun. We are a little out there sometimes, but we do
We
Yes,
have
we do.
iceberg blue, yes.
have iceberg blue.
we do want to still educate you. But yes, we do have the iceberg blue. That's why I was introduced to it because Maritza has always worked alongside Michael's Gourmet Pantry and Kieran Way.
We love
And
him.
so they are the ones that helped me get into blues and also just cheese in general.
Yep.
I never had a true appreciation to cheese
Yeah.
until I met Michael's Gourmet, Maritza, and
Hey,
Jen
no.
Downey.
I thought freaking American sliced cheese was good. Tripping. Don't listen to me. It's tripping.
then.
Well, I mean,
Then.
Well,
Well,
there's
there
a
is,
totally
but
different woman.
Velveeta is only one
No.
molecule.
We don't like
one molecule
Velveeta.
away from plastic.
I'm sorry, but an American craft, like a slice with the plastic, you peel it off.
Yeah.
When you're young, man, that is
Oh,
the
man.
best grilled cheese. But you
Childhood.
know, your palate
Childhood.
changes. Your palate always changes. So you might not like blue yesterday, but today
You
you
don't
might.
like it.
you're gonna
Well,
like it.
The biggest
Yeah.
thing about blue cheese and
Ooh.
blue cheese dressings is if you go ahead and make a blue cheese dressing at home, then invest into a good blue
Mhm.
cheese. Okay, I mean it makes
Yeah.
such a difference.
You're gonna use very,
Um,
very little blue, but as long as the blue is awesome, it won't deliver any bad notes. It'll make your dressing fantastic,
Absolutely.
and it won't need that much.
Fantastical.
Yeah.
And
So-
then Miss Maritza here,
Hi.
she just made a homemade
Yay.
blue cheese dressing
Ooh.
for one of our
Ooh.
salads, or one of our
Work,
salads
work.
that we're going to be serving at Kieran Way.
New menu coming soon.
It has the iceberg blue cheese,
Mm-hmm.
and it is so dang tasty.
And also we're gonna make it every now and then with Roquefort Papillon.
If you wanna, if you wanna
So-
really, really test your palate, or
Get
you
it,
already like
cowboy.
the strong flavors, why not upgrade it there?
It's
That's right.
it makes
That's
a
right.
huge difference
Yeah.
when you go to a good blue cheese.
It really does.
Upgrade your palate.
All right. Sky craisins. She's catching sky craisins.
She is. She's doing her job.
Well, I call them craisins
She's
since we're
fish
eating
water.
craisins.
We call dogs.
I have.
Well, then pass them down. Don't be
Oh.
stingy.
Wow, you have all the.
I'm sorry,
chutney
we have all the
Oh
over
yeah,
there.
sorry, we
goodies.
have all the goodies over
Sorry.
here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Raisins.
Please share.
All right.
As we're at the end.
Okay.
For the next cheese, we're going back to Virginia, to Meadow Creek, and this time we're going to talk about the Grayson. Excuse me,
Yeah.
Grayson.
Grayson.
There we go.
Name the
Grayson.
country.
All right.
but
No
hold
more
on,
wine
hold
for
on.
me, more water.
Here's the crazy.
So, what's interesting on this particular cheese is that it is a Taleggio style cheese, wash rind, American made Taleggio. It is a raw milk cheese and natural rind, raw milk. That is just a wash rind cheese. Sorry, Brian is making funny faces.
He's our IT director.
So, yeah.
Putting this all together, it's sometimes difficult to not laugh or smile. I should say
You have
it's
to.
unique.
Exactly. You have to. I mean, we literally moved everything from the office
To Michael's
within
house.
an hour to our house. Okay, so welcome to our home.
Yes.
Um,
You want to challenge Michael Debacci? He's open.
Okay,
So-
well, sorry.
go ahead, ladies first.
To go back to the Grayson, it's a wash rind cheese. So it's we had last time the Muku Color Rouge and which one which one was the other one? We had
We had
the- oh.
Noble Road.
yeah
We had Noble Road for the last one. What's nice about this particular one, it has this absolutely incredible flavor. So on melting characteristics, yeah, it's this one on a grilled cheese.
yeah.
It could
So,
match
yeah.
one of the best grilled cheeses
Yeah.
you've ever had.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What I envisioned was that the melting of this characters, I would go ahead and use a nice aged prosciutto with that, and definitely go. All right, I can
Nothing
see
like hanging
somebody
out of the
going in
pool
the
with a
water.
bottle of
I
Republic of
hope you
Pink.
don't have your phone in there.
No, it's not
It's the Republic of Pink turtle crawl.
Here we go.
I'm scared.
You should be. You can't swim.
Dude, I'll just stay right there. Don't go. I can't swim.
You can't swim?
Yes.
Well, then I wouldn't go ahead and go any further.
How deep is it?
Very deep. About your nose.
Yes,
All right.
This is
All
Um,
right, let's get back to the
at-home
Yeah.
webinars. It's always
So-
going to be outlived.
When we talk about wash rind, usually they sting.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
and the rind is very pungent,
This is not.
but
Oh.
in fact, they're very mild.
Mhm.
So, don't be scared. Don't be scared to eat those kind of cheeses because they're beautiful, and
Don't-
especially like Michael said, you want to make an amazing grilled cheese sandwiches. They melt beautifully, and in fact, the heat turned down a little bit the punginess of the rind.
I absolutely love when you put the rind to your nose.
Yeah.
And you really take a nice whiff of that. I just absolutely love the aroma of that. Okay, I think it is
It's an
just
amazing cheese.
pungentness.
Yeah.
It has some funk to it. It's fudgy. It's melty. When you squeeze it between your hands right now, you see it nice and soft, and it has absolutely incredible melting characteristics. It's almost like a young Promontory. If you take the Promontory at 3 or 4 months, I would say that would be about.
We would be looking
Yeah.
to go.
But this one here has all the characteristics of the flavor, the aroma, the melting, and I just absolutely love that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, rosé and white wine on this one for sure.
yeah.
You could even go red.
You know,
especially if the red is cooler. There's nothing wrong with chilling your red wine. We'll make it cold, but there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of chill on your red wine. It opens up a different element of palates. It opens up a different element of tastes.
Yeah.
When it has a little chill. And sometimes big red wines can use a little bit of cooling.
I would
You
definitely
should
love.
never drink these things at a room temperature.
Yeah. I
They're
would
too
definitely.
cloying. They're too much.
I would love to have this cheese in a cheese fondue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
Oh,
so
dude,
good.
Okay.
We were thinking. We were
I
thinking.
don't know what you use in your truffle grilled chilies, but this wouldn't hurt.
What were you thinking?
Oh, we got to come up with something special.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be, if you take a nice ciabatta bread, you melt that on there with some
The cheese
prosciutto,
is so good.
and you put some nice spiciness to underneath. I think that would be, right there.
So you
What's
know
up?
you talked about old country, new country, old cheese, new cheese. I mean, it's the same with new thing. I mean, I think for me it's pretty close to a telaggio. I would say in the texture, but it's even more creamy. So it's I think it's all about maybe they use a different milk. Maybe I mean, it's the terroir, it's the washing, it's the aging. It's a new cheese. I love it.
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. I'm
It's fantastic cheese, and it's
Yeah.
several of these that we talked about. You can go white or red. Like there's no absolutes.
I don't think there's a right or wrong with the wine pairing with the cheese, because again, it comes down to what is your flavor profile. What do you like?
If
What
I
do
had
you
to
enjoy?
absolutely match this, though, I would say American Chardonnay.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Which region?
butteriness, the creaminess, the
Paso, Napa, Sonoma.
the texture. Like I said, that all kind of screams balanced American Chardonnay.
How do you feel about lately? I heard that more and more of the American winemakers are moving into other regions like New Mexico or even Texas.
Oh,
Up
yeah,
by
of
Fredericksburg, north of Austin, Fredericksburg.
It's about $1
that
million an acre to get any land in California, and not California, but in Napa.
Mhm.
And there's some great science going on there. They've made leaps and bounds about putting themselses on the map. And Napa is the Disneyland or the Disney World, I guess you would say, of the world.
Yeah.
In wine, it's a special place. If you haven't been, you have to go. They just cater to loving people, and the restaurants, the food, and the wines are they're spectacular. There's just really in the wine world. Going all over the world, tasting wines, in Italy and France and South America, it's a unique experience in our backyard, and we should really treasure that, especially now that we really can't travel internationally,
Yes.
and it doesn't make sense to travel internationally. Napa's now starting to open up, and Sonoma and Monterey and Lodi. Go on and on. Paso, Los Olivos, and Buellton. You go to these small little communities. An hour north of LA, you're mind-blowing experience, and you are supporting local
Thank you.
winemakers. Paolo Barbieri, lived in Vegas for so long, opened Alex, and was at the Cosmo, Scarpetto for so long, and had his own dream of having his own winery and making his own wines. Makes it with Erin Kempe. Her rosé and her wines are spectacular. They got a wine tasting room in Los Olivos. You got to go visit it. Like, now is the time to support that local community. If you haven't been to these areas, you got to try them out. These they're making special wines that really match up well with food. It's not all about fruit bombs. It's not all about, oh man, well, I only drink French wine. I only drink Italian wine. I only drink this. You have to understand that these people that are going in and making wine understand those wines too. They're making wines on that premise. They're making wines that are balanced and pretty special. And now is the time to support that. Local dairy farms, local wineries.
And that's why I
Local.
appreciate.
It's kind of a no-brainer. Go.
No. Local
Sorry.
restaurants.
Yeah, local. And
To support the local butcher shop, to support the local, the
Go back to slow
store.
food.
Exactly. A wonderful slow food movement that has more and more developed over the last 10, 12, 15 years is brought up by the chefs. It started again in Italy, the slow food movement.
The career was created there.
Look at the meat producers. You don't want to go with a nice big company like, Cargill, okay, or anything like that. That's mass producing. Okay, look at the shambles they're in right now with what we have going on. A lot of the employees have COVID over there. Go with a local producer. Go with Heritage. Go with Flannery. Go know where your beef comes from. Call your local butcher. Go in with another family. Your friends, your neighbors, and call up a local farm and say, hey, listen, we want to
Everything
buy
you
a
eat, you
pig.
should know where it came from.
Exactly.
Everything you eat and drink, you should know where it came from. A lot of these winemakers cannot be certified biodynamic or organic. It costs a lot of money for these small farmers and small producers. Even no matter what type of industry you're in when it comes to these products. But the majority of the smaller ones do care no matter what. They practice all these, they practice all these things because they care about what they're doing and they care about these products. And, all of these are put together with care. And I know all of these are put together with care. And they're more artisanal.
Yeah.
They're, they might not be certified, but they are worried about everything and anything.
It's the love, the passion that we as cheese distributors or cheese shops have to portray to our customers, for them to understand how much love, how much labor goes into making cheese. Okay. Again, the hard work, the temperature, the environment, the humidity, the labor it takes to nurture this cheese. It has to be, for example, the promontory has to be constantly washed on the outside. It has to be flipped so it doesn't get these funky wedges in there or edges. The four-fat fowl, the Calderwood.
We're on the
all
four-fat
these
fowl?
cheeses. Yes, we are on the four-fat fowl, by the way. Okay, sorry, next door.
Quick question. What is good with grilled cheese and prosciutto? Ladies?
So as we mentioned before, definitely the first two cheeses. The
Appalachian.
Appalachian and the Promontory.
Mhm.
For prosciutto, I would say honestly all of the cheeses that are on our boards right now.
Yeah, they play very well together. If you come into the shop, you try one cheese, you try one meat, they're all gonna play relatively well together. I mean, sometimes you do have a big brother versus a little brother, but regardless, they're not gonna offend anybody. They're not gonna kill anybody. They're just gonna play a little rough, maybe.
Yeah.
If you're kind of rough, but overall, everything goes very, very well. It really does. And then as far as like a compliment, what is it called? Like jams and accompaniments.
Yeah, accompaniments.
Like same thing. Just try a couple things. But anyway, for grilled cheeses, Michael was mentioning the one with the raisin with the prosciutto. Delicious. Very,
Oh
very
yeah,
bold.
that would be really good.
Very, very bold flavors.
Italiano or Parma?
Any of the
know,
prosciuttos. We have
I would
so
go
much
with-
good prosciuttos.
But I would go with the Italiano
Me
just
too.
because it is a little less fatty than the Parma.
Oh, yeah,
and
you're right.
this
That's what
one's
I was
already
thinking.
I think
this
Italiano
one's-
is the leanest one.
Yeah, and this cheese is already so rich.
Yeah.
So rich. So you definitely want something a little bit that's just gonna be in the background, but not really, but just they won't be fighting.
No.
they'll be playing
They'll
along.
complement
Yeah.
each other.
They're gonna play in the
There'll be
backyard and
best-
have a grand time.
Best friends, besties for life,
Yeah.
for sure.
Forever.
Between two buns, but
Sorry, that was an LB Food Junkie reference.
But,
everybody likes anything between buns.
but yeah,
Like cheeses and meats.
or on top of fried food.
Yes.
But
Fried food
anyhow,
is everything. That's all.
anyhow,
Yeah.
I do want to give an appreciation to Michael, Caroline, and Jason. I learned so much every class because of them. I have been trying to grow my palate with wine,
Yes.
and like he was saying, I really want to go to Napa so that I can explore that. I went not too long ago with Miss Maritza here to
We went to
Dang.
Temecula.
Temecula.
I wasn't invited.
Both beer and wine destinations.
Said
Really
that.
awesome.
And I was venturing there with wine. And as I was doing so, I was thinking of what cheeses I would like to pair with what wines I had because I was looking into working here. So that's always on my mind. And then with Michael and Caroline, they've taught me so much about meats and cheeses and pairings, and also just to have an open mind with everything. And also that, like the girls were saying, do what you want. Like, experiment.
Be a rebel.
Try to figure out what is good with what.
Yes.
In your preference. Don't let anybody tell you what is supposed to pair with what, because it's not always the right answer.
Your palate, everyone's palate is different.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're an expert, a beginner. It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
I was mediocre at best when I first started working for Kieran
If
Way.
y'all find anything that pairs well, please let us know.
Yeah.
Share.
Spread your knowledge to us
Yeah.
like we're spreading ours to yours.
Yeah. And we're totally open. Like you can see, we're very friendly, and we are more than willing to. Hey, we are.
Why you laugh?
We're very friendly.
Anyhow, don't be like Brian. And anyhow,
Correct nerds.
I
all
know that
day.
the next cheese that we're going to be talking about is the four fat fowl. That is honestly one of the first cheeses that I got hooked onto. I love it on toast with some marmalade.
Yeah.
Saints.
Oh, it's called St. Stephen's, but I know it as four fat fowl.
The reason why you know it as four fat fowl because the very, very first cheese that St. Stephen's ever made was a four fat fowl. So therefore, we just didn't know any better.
The
And we
more
just-
you
they
know.
had one cheese.
It's
sorry.
the other way.
It's the other way.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
where's St. Stephen's?
Oop,
St.
Oh.
Stephen's.
Michael for the education here.
I'm just gonna eat some nuts.
Michael, do you know anything about this cheese?
Yes, absolutely. St. Stephen's is one of my favorite, actually, four fat fowl, St. Stephen's. St. Stephen's is Stephenstown, right there on the Massachusetts-New York border, but on the New York side. And the cheesemakers are very, very good friends of mine. Shalina and Willie are making this cheese. It was it is a triple cream brie that is different from what we have on everything that's out there. I feel when you look at this particular cheese, okay, right now, of course, the temperature, it's nice and soft. We're outside. It's 86 degrees. Welcome to Vegas. And it hasn't even matured yet. So normally when you see that cheese between 10, 12 weeks, you see the rind slowly dying off and it gets kind of a brown. Obviously, the rind is dying and the inside is getting creamy, just like this right there. Okay. And
But the rind on this cheese holds it all in.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is, I mean, my, Amy and I, this is our favorite cheese. There's no doubt about it. I love all cheese and I like pretty much all wine. But this cheese is special.
For an American-made triple cream. I love Mount Tom. I love that it's organic. I love the flavor profile. Of course, I love Sue and Peggy. But this one in particular gets so creamy. So I've always been a big fan of the old Saint Andre and the Brie à Savarin triple cream bries from France. Creamy, just beautiful in flavor. Then you started changing the profile, especially on the Saint Andre. It got more harder. It's not getting as funky on the inside. So this right there it's the first cheese. They actually just came out with another one, a camembert. They're making an absolutely incredible ricotta, and they're giving it funny names too. Okay, so
There's no good ricotta right now.
yes,
We
this
gotta
one
get some.
here is my, like you said, from the cheeses for the afternoons. Sorry, I'm told to sit up straight.
Slacker you.
Slacker. It's just the aroma, it's the flavor, it's everything. And again,
Special.
it's like all these cheesemakers. I've known Shalina. She was my sales rep at Old Chatham before she started with Willie St. Stephen's. They bought an old schoolhouse in the local schoolhouse and converted that into a creamery, but also they left the gym alone and they're using that for community functions. Okay, a multi-purpose room for the community. Concerts, lectures, readings, and so forth. Dances. Okay, and what they have done, what they have created from the beginning. First time Kathy and I went up to New York fancy food show. What was that? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. 4 or 5 years ago. We went up there and we visit Old Chatham. We visit Four Fat Fowl, St. Stephen's. We visit Hudson Valley Farm. So they were still in their first production facility, which was a converted pizza place. Okay, and you walked into the office and you had a glass with an arch, and behind you saw Willie making cheese and the father, Shalina's father. It's a family business. They're bringing in the family. They're using local dairies. And I just absolutely admire this cheese. I think it's fantastic for a company, a larger company like Intersource, to represent them. Okay, so they can sell in the larger distribution, have that available. But again, the cheese is fantastic.
It is. I think that the last two cheeses, white blends go great with. There's no doubt about it. There's complexity. You go in many different directions. Obviously, this onyx wine, we tasted and thought about and, went through, and we thought this matched pretty much anything. But if you got to be like generic and don't want to geek out, American Chardonnay.
I totally agree with you.
Especially with the Grayson.
Yeah.
What's the ideal pairing for the Banshee?
The ideal, if I had to go through all of these, I would say the Calderwood or the Promontory.
Yeah.
Were my two
With the
favorites.
girls,
Were my two favorites with the red.
yeah.
Where's the red?
For us, St. Stephen,
Oh, hello.
all the way.
But everybody,
But everybody's gonna be a little bit different. But yeah, for us, the
everybody
red,
has different pairings.
yeah, the red was
different
fantastic
thoughts.
with the St. Stephen.
But I have
You-
not tried it with any other cheeses yet. But so far with the St. Stephen's, I have been
It's on point. Pretty
really,
on point.
really well.
You,
What should I try it
like I
with,
said,
Jason?
So yeah, tell us.
It's
Educate us.
it's so difficult to match so many different cheeses with one wine. There's no absolutes. You really have to be open. You have to taste wine. You can't always just listen to critics and listen. There's generalizations.
Yes.
No doubt. And usually they can guide you in different ways. Blends generally are going to obviously blend with a lot of different things. Rosé is always good with almost anything. Sparkling wine is almost good with anything. There's a few that transcend all food tastes and directions. But okay. So the three girls on the left, finish that wine. We don't have a wine taste. It's obviously not part of the wine tasting, but you're gonna finish that.
Actually,
They were like,
so-
"Wow, we love that wine with
Yeah.
the wine we just tasted."
So
I
just
want you to make sure that you have enough cheese to taste again
So we
taste this wine. Don't let anybody look at the label.
Look at the
I
label.
just want you to. This is the wine that wasn't offered.
Oh, we ain't got that wine. She got
But
that
this
wine.
is
Oh.
Let me know what you think about this. With everything you just
I
said.
have too much wine.
and
Sorry.
everything that you just went through.
I mean, in the water glass.
Balance.
Too
All
much
about balance,
water.
Jamie.
Put 'em on.
Dump it, chuck it.
So after you mentioned that the red wine matched very well with the Promontory, we actually went back in and tried it, and you're right, it really does. It's nice. It really is.
Because the cheese is stronger in a
Thank you so
a
kindly.
drier side and a
Right.
rustic side. The cheese is a little bit more crystallized. There's salinity to it. There's a lot of things that red wine will gravitate to. When you're talking about the four fat fowl, or when you're talking about the Grayson, you're going through a creaminess, a texture of different ends. Yes, it will match with the red wine, especially a red blend like this. This is a creamy red wine that is meant to really match all types of food. Let me know what you think about when you're tasting this wine, how it works with the four fat fowl, or it really even works with the Grayson.
Yeah. It's this is just,
And how it changes. And then it kind of goes into the sense that, well, first of all, everybody's tasting is different. There's nothing wrong.
So see, so it just made me think that what I
But
just had was
You go
totally,
back, and
what
girls
I
will
just
tell you,
said. Even though I loved it with the red, the 4 5 power, even though I loved it with that and the red, now I'm like, holy shit, I was totally wrong. Ooh,
you weren't wrong,
but
though.
I wasn't wrong because I just hadn't experienced it yet. No, cousin.
But you were able to see another side appearance.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
The more exposed you are, the
sometimes-
better you're going
no
to be
wrong
able
answer,
to
but
just no wrong
sometimes
answer,
things-
but you're gonna learn what
you
you
might be
like.
like, oh wow, this is fantastic, and then you taste
Mhm.
something else, you're like, oh wow, all right, well this is.
Yeah, okay, so this is much superior than what I just thought was superior, but I was a little wrong.
And the more you taste, and the more you drink, and the more you try different things with different things. I mess up all the time. There's times I open bottles of wine, and I'm like,
You
you know, I opened a bottle of wine yesterday. My girlfriend and I, we tasted a glass, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And then I was like, 15 minutes later, I was like, I went back to the wine, and I was like, throw it out. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, like,
This wine, it had a 15-minute moment,
Yeah.
but the bottle was bad.
We had a wine very similar the other day, where the wine was. I'm looking at my beautiful wife. Okay, the wine was
He's relaxed. He's very, very relaxed.
The wine was, the first sip was fantastic. The second sip was fantastic. And afterwards, all of a sudden, I got a headache from it. So tell me about what could cause the headaches. I would relate to the sulfates.
Well, it's usually after having numerous hangovers in my life and dealing with wine most of my life, it's usually dehydration.
Dehydration,
More than sulfites.
more than sulfites.
There's sulfites in every single vegetable and fruit you're ever going to ingest your entire life. You can't eat fruits and vegetables if you have a sulfite allergy. It's in reality, there's a difference between sulfur, sulfide, and sulfites. They're all different processes that go into making or growing and having a farm, especially going into making a wine.
Right. You don't think
You can't farm without sulfur.
Okay. Absolutely.
It is a natural thing. It's a biodynamic thing. It's an organic thing. When you're talking about the amount of sulfites in anything, that some people are more sensitive than others, and certain wines can carry more sulfites, which lead to dehydration,
Right.
which lead to the headache.
Right.
Some people are more sensitive to it, so those sulfites hit certain people quicker. And I'm not a scientist, and everything I'm saying right now is just my knowledge
Experience.
of dealing with whatever I'm dealing with. Yes, having low sulfites is a positive thing. It's, they can. Who knows what happens? But they've been used for millennial. You need it to sustain a crop and make wine,
Right.
Or tomatoes or vegetable or asparagus or whatever, and they're in everything you ever have, and they're naturally in everything you ever have. But I generally, the headache you're getting, and unless you do have a sulfite allergy, I'm not an expert on this, is usually based off of dehydration. Alcohol is going to dehydrate you.
Yeah.
Of course.
We live in the desert.
A nurse said it was always
I never had hangovers until I moved to Las Vegas. I lived in New Orleans, obviously one of the most humid climates on earth. Growing up in New England, no, I really, you know what I mean. You just, I took a couple aspirin and drank a bunch of water, and I was fine. You know what I mean? Never. I came here, and I was like, oh my god, like what happened?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you will get massive hangovers in Vegas if you do not hydrate.
Well, that's the biggest thing always in Vegas. When I first moved here from Mammoth Lakes in '86, I actually worked construction because of my green card. I was waiting for that. And I had to, the first time I was getting lightheaded and so forth. So yes, hydration is a huge factor.
It's the biggest
and,
part.
and the older you get, definitely. So, okay, maybe I have to go, Spatz, maybe we have to go ahead and try that wine again and we drink more water.
It
No.
hits
She
you.
said no. She said no. Straight up.
I mean,
No.
sulfites are it's an unknown science. It's like
Yeah.
it's like COVID. We just really don't know the exacts about like how it affects individuals and people. I mean, if you feel like you're sensitive to some things, you know what I mean? Like, try cutting it out. Try something else. You don't necessarily need to go to a doctor and get an allergy test. And half those things don't really mean much. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, my throat gets a little scratchy when I have melons or avocados, but am I gonna stop eating them? No, because they're freaking delicious. I'll suffer. You know what I mean? For a little bit. And the same goes for wine with sulfites. The amount of sulfites in every single wine that's produced is far lower than any government agency would ever require to be used. And some are massively below those levels.
Yeah.
So winemakers are aware of it. They're doing their best to make the most natural thing, the most natural way to produce grapes to a bottle to a customer.
Right.
And the regulation. Think about just you have to kind of do a little studying, just like when it comes to cheese, when it comes to meat, when it comes to any food product or any wine product, you kind of have to know where you're getting your product from. If you don't, you're running a risk of there being additives or there being extra sulfates or there being things there are percentages in every single food product that are allowed to be in there that none of us have even heard of or even thought that could be in that. But there are.
Yeah.
So just be more aware of what you're consuming.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with
Wine
that.
is 100% that way.
Awesome.
Call the winery up.
Thank you.
Call the cheese shop up.
Yeah, call us
Hey.
up. We're here. Point,
Hey,
point.
Where's it going?
Do you need our phone number?
We'll find out.
702-429-3617.
Thank you for
Again.
knowing it.
702-429-3617. My name is Janelle. Call Jamie.
I'm Maritza.
Is that your number or her
We're
number?
good.
If you like the cheese, call me. If you don't like the cheese, call Jamie.
There you go.
But regardless, we'll take care of you. We will.
So we were just having a conversation about the types of cheeses that we like on the board right now. And we were discussing that.
Well,
We are outside.
we are outside.
outside,
It's
so-
a little warm, and it's been about a little bit over 2
2
hours.
hours?
So some of them were at their
Gotcha.
peak a while ago, because remember we did kind of mention like maybe like 30 minutes before you start to consume, you might want to pull that out
At
But
room
now,
temperature.
At room temperature, but we are a little bit over that room temperature, maybe garden temperature. So
A lot bit
about
because
10
the sun was also shining on
Yeah.
our cheese, so
Maybe
it
like-
became a little hot.
Yeah, and a little like about 10 degrees hotter
But-
than it should have been.
But honestly, so it gave us an idea of what we would like to cook.
Mhm.
So, like Maritza
Yeah.
was saying,
The Calderwood, super fantastic for cooking, just because it build more and more. Oh, and also the Appalachian, it did build more and more as the flavors. As it warmed up.
Yep.
One that we did not necessarily like warm was the
blue.
the bougie. It's too bougie.
It's
bro.
too bougie in this weather. It's not good for garden weather.
No, it wants to be inside in the AC. Yeah.
Yes.
It's bougie.
Exactly, bougie.
It's bougie after all.
It's too good. This heat
Yeah.
is too much for it.
But then the Grayson too, I feel like that might be better at a colder temperature. Personally,
Room temperature, not
Yeah, room temperature.
not outside temperature. The St. Stephen's.
We just love St. Stephen, period, no matter what
That is-
temperature it's at.
Whenever anybody asks me like what it tastes like, I'm like butter.
Butter.
It
Yeah,
is
remember
butter.
the brie at Sovereign that we
Butter.
had the last cheese class? It's like almost like that, but better.
This one did.
Better.
Oh, I know. Some
Ooh.
of you guys didn't try those, but guess what?
We have
have
it.
them.
We have them.
Stop.
We do. We're not lying.
But if this is your first time, I do want to thank you. We all
We
do
all
want to
thank you.
Thank you.
because
you so
through all of this, it's nice to know that we have people who support us and we support them 110%.
Hundy.
We want to educate and then also just feed all of Las Vegas.
All of it.
And-
And outside of Las Vegas. So for all of you outside of Nevada, thank you.
Hello.
Thank
I
you.
think the furthest order we had for this
Furthest order.
cheese class
Was it Colorado?
actually in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Hello, Minnesota.
Hello, Minnesota.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then also, go ahead, Michael.
Ladies
I
first.
apologize.
Ladies
No,
first.
I was going to ask for questions. So if you have an answer,
If you have a question,
I
you have an
don't.
answer.
Statement.
I don't have an answer, and I just want to thank everybody.
Hold on.
Hold on.
ooh,
We're going there.
okay, blah, blah,
Get it blind.
Or
blah, blah.
Brian.
Oh, Miguel.
Miguel.
Who has a question?
Anybody has a question?
Got a question?
Ask about the price point on the red.
White
Oh.
point on the red. The Banshee.
In
Banshee should
your, in your
Yeah, we-
shop, probably low in 20s.
18 to 20. I don't have the pricing on hand right now, but yeah, maybe even 22,
Yeah.
something like that. I know that the Rebel Pink is quite a bit cheaper.
Yes.
Oh, we haven't given a bottle away yet.
No,
What?
Ooh.
Wait, what? We did not know about this.
Yeah.
We're
I
giving
thought
away
we're giving
a bottle.
of Republic Pink.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, we are.
And we're
Get
also
another
giving
one.
away a shirt.
Que eres más.
And the shirt.
Okay, we're going to pick the names tomorrow.
All right, to go, I would say around low 20s. But
Okay.
if you're in the shop, there's obviously cost involved in that, probably around $30.
Okay,
So 20 to $30 in that range.
okay.
And you're
That's fine.
supporting the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Vegas Golden Knights. Go
You're-
Knights.
they-
We can't wait for seeing you back on the ice.
They will be coming back soon.
Yes, we definitely wait for that. Okay. And yes, we have,
I'll
we
have
got
the
to,
enforcer come out and make sure everybody's drinking,
Yes.
you know.
Yep. And we
American
will
wine and
pull-
American cheese.
we will pull a name tomorrow from the list. And you're going to get a shirt from Kierden Way.
We only have
So-
extra large shirts.
We'll
Cheers.
throw in a VGK hat too for
Here we go.
another
Okay.
another lucky winner.
So it's
Shirt
gonna be
Navici hat.
a bottle of wine, a cheese t-shirt,
It's
and
going to be an extra large.
a little sun
Excellent.
hat because it's summertime.
Okay.
Golden Night shirt. I mean,
Okay,
Hat.
we'll order more shirts. I don't know about the hats because these are Kathy and Michael.
Yeah.
We
you
just
like our
bought
hats?
them.
Someone said she couldn't understand us because we didn't have our hats on, so we put it back on.
And you know what? I understand that.
You're
My
opening up bidding,
accent comes out so much when I don't have a hat on.
What accent?
How much?
What accent?
My hillbilly one.
How much- how
Y'all want to hear
The
it?
Spice
Maybe-
Girls
Now-
accent?
Maybe we should have an auction on the hats the ladies are wearing.
Yeah, here we go.
You know.
Uh-oh.
Anybody throw some bids out. All right, we'll see what we can do. And Michael, of course.
Here's a hat.
Michael's hat.
Here's a hat that I wore with my son when we went to Cherry Valley Camp in Catalina. So Boy Scout camp in Catalina. So I got this thing
Put
for
another hat
at
on.
least 12, 14
No
years.
more Boy Scouts anymore. So
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
absolutely. So here we go. Camp Cherry Valley. That was fun.
Oh, we're saying bye?
Hey,
Okay.
thanks everybody.
Is that already that time? to say goodbye.
Be safe. Week
by
by week, we get
well,
better and better.
So long.
Thank you to the panel, ladies, and Jason.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you to all of you for supporting us. I am humbled. We are humbled by you guys supporting us and just absolutely loving us. I enjoyed so many people yesterday when they picked up the packages and enjoyed and talked about how much they enjoyed these classes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this class. Jason, I need a little bit more wine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Wine. Again, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
You guys make
Cheers.
this possible for us to go ahead and be here and support these amazing cheesemakers and support our shops, support local restaurants. So thank you again. Jason, cheers. Caroline,
Yes. Cheers.
cheers.
Thank you,
Melissa,
Vegas. The other states.
Janelle,
And
and Jamie.
Oh,
I got it right this
got it
time.
right this time.
Took 3 classes.
You know, that's all. He's a good student.
You guys, we miss
That means
you.
you're his favorite.
If you guys miss our sandwiches, we are open
Yeah.
for
I don't think I
sandwiches.
see you.
Oh, can you see me?
We are
From this way?
open Monday through Friday.
10
from
to 6.
10 to 6. Please come in, have some lunch. We are limited seating.
Get a
So
glass of
hurry up,
wine.
sit down, eat, and hurry the fuck out. I'm
Oh,
excited.
Get a sandwich and a wine.
Relájate, okay? We miss you guys.
We miss you guys. Sorry.
And to
I
all our
apologize.
newcomers, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Sandwich and wine.
And
Sandwich
she's
and
on
wine.
timeout.
Honestly, thank you for all of the support. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming in, purchasing wine, meats, cheeses, sandwiches.
Thank you for what?
It's time to go
Wine.
swim, you guys. Who wants to see Michael jump in the water?
All right.
There we go. It's been a
Here we
challenge.
go. Here we go.
Put it in your pocket.
Challenge.